I can only imagine what you've seen and heard and experienced in that career field. Something that most of us only experience from a customer standpoint. Like we hopefully don't ever meet or run into you as far as a family law attorney. Like God forbid anyone needs a family law attorney. But of course, you have great levels of job security. I don't think your career field's going anywhere anytime soon, as long as people are still getting married and having kids. So, yeah, I did have quite a bit of questions, but I'll pick out the pertinent ones because I feel like you'll cover most of them anyway. But this first question, it has quite a bit of options, but this is just how I think. Which matters more, evidence, the state you live in, the lawyer, the judge, or the jury, and all of this being in relation to divorce proceedings, and especially as it relates to the outcome. Which do you think would, and I could read through it again, but which do you think matters the most in terms of impact and outcomes?
Yeah, well, I'll cross out the jury just automatically. Georgia is the only state in the nation that
Mm,
allows you to have divorce proceedings by juries. Now, Texas does as well, but
mm,
Georgia allows you to discuss more things in front of the jury. So the
wow,
jury, 12 people can decide your damn divorce in Georgia. It's an amazing
that's
state. It's
crazy. That's
amazing.
crazy.
And in some ways that's bad, but in some ways that's good because my number one answer, to be honest, is the judge. You
Mm,
know, and it makes sense. If you think about, if you die, right, what's the most important thing? Is it how you lived your life? Is it the state that you lived in? Is it how much money you made? Is it how you impacted people? Or is it God, right?
right.
Like
Don't
the
be wrong.
person who, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in his hand. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? If you are the judge, nothing else matters.
Yeah.
Nothing else matters. So it would be, on the lowest thing where it doesn't matter the jury,
Mm,
because most there really aren't jury trials for divorces, and then the highest thing would be the judge, and everything else would be in between. But at the end, and that should be a scary proposition because what you're talking about is, you living with a woman for 8 years, having two kids, you know this woman better than anybody. She knows you better than anybody. Y'all know y'all's kids better than anybody. And then some
mm-hmm.
white man in a robe, 56 years old, who has never met you
Yeah.
on purpose. He's supposed to be impartial. So he's never
Yeah.
met you, has no idea how you're living, no idea what your goals are. He gets to sit back and decide after 6 hours what your future is going to look like. Imagine. Imagine.
That's crazy.
All right. So, and he's the judge.
Yeah.
Okay, like it's just you're putting so much power in one man.
In regards to truth, do you see judges operating more off the law in terms of deductive reasoning, or do they pursue the truth of what they're actually debating? Like, obviously, you got two lawyers on two different sides, you got two different points of view. People are telling on each other and pointing the finger. Do you think the judge is being impartial, or from your experience, do you view judges being impartial in relation to justice, or do you see them being deductive in terms of the law?
Most judges are impartial because they don't know you. Now,
Mm-hmm.
when you go to small towns, like for example, you could probably go to some towns in Alaska where the
Yeah,
judge does know people.
family members.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
So then you start bumping up on some impartiality.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're in Atlanta, the judge doesn't know you necessarily. Or if the judge does know you, then the judge is going to kick your case to some other judge. Judges typically try to do what's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Judges have in their mind what's fair, and then they try to frame it inside of the law.
Mm-hmm.
Now, now the issue is what's fair to the judge, because what's fair to the judge may say, "Well, I think it's fair that women get the kids
Yeah.
most of the time." Now, can the judge justify that in the law? Because the law says either party can get the kids. There should be no preference
Mm-hmm.
for a gender when it comes to assigning custody. So the judge is like, yeah, there should be no preference. There's no preference. I'm just saying that in this particular case, the mom was better, and in
Mm-hmm.
this particular case, and in every case is this particular case.
Right.
Right, so you can't really show a pattern necessarily. Oh, because of the facts of this case are a little different, and the facts of this
Mm-hmm.
case are a little different. So, because there are little differences, you can say, "Oh, well, in this specific circumstance, the mom was
Right.
better." But it happens like that, for 90% of the cases.
Mm,
So the judge tries to go on what's fair, but it's what's fair to the judge,
right. Which is
right?
subjective. It's just
Exactly.
it's foolishness.